Thank you so much for staying with us. And of course, this beautiful Tuesday morning, we have parenting. And for the fourth time this month, I have with me Ochuko Prudence Daniels. And of course, she's a parenting expert, and she's here to help us with a discussion talking about supporting children. I'll just leave it at that. Welcome back to Wake Up Nigeria. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you, Ify. I'm good.
All right, amazing. I love your outfits.
Thank you.
Very Afro. Yes, very bold. Amazing. Okay, tell me. Okay, so now the topic we're talking about today, right? Talking about how we might support children
through a difficult time.
Through a difficult time. Because, yeah, I mean, as adults, we literally think, we're the ones going through it, considering everything that's happening. Because I remember chatting with my brother-in-law, and I was like, oh, how are you? And how are the kids? He's like, oh, yeah, they're doing better than us. So first of all, it's important to actually note that children do have their own difficult times. Yeah. Can you help us with highlighting some of those difficult times?
Yeah, children are the most ignored when it comes to mental well-being.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's important that parents are aware that the onus is on them to support their children mentally, because there's so much going on about mental health,
True.
but children are totally ignored in that space, especially in our culture.
Very true.
They're almost unseen.
Okay.
And so it's good to, as a parent, before you can even support a child, you need to be aware of your own emotions.
True.
You need to be in a good place to be able to support children. But let's take, for instance, in the instance of death, even the adults around are not in a good place in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah, my best suggestion or advice to parents would be, first and foremost, be vulnerable about your own emotions to your children. There's no need to cage it up or hide it from your children. They need to know the truth. Yeah, children are being lied to all over the world. Even when you say, oh, when they say, I want to follow you, mommy, to go out, they say, go and put on your shoes, and before they come in, So we need to be truthful to them, emotionally, be vulnerable, and then listen to them. Talk to them about the reality of the situation, the truth about it, and what exactly has happened, and not pretend that it didn't happen or lie to them that it didn't happen. Yeah, so also look out for signs of stress in those children. For very young children, they may not be able to verbalize their emotions.
Yeah, so what would you say the signs
they
can
throw
be?
tantrums. Yeah, they throw tantrums. They might be changing in eating routine, their eating habits, their sleeping habits, and they may be more clinging for younger children. And then for older children, they vanish. They go into themselves.
Okay.
And sometimes they sleep more. Yeah, for especially teenagers, they sleep more when they are stressed, and then they eat less, and they don't socialize as much as they usually do.
Okay.
So as a parent, once you are able to identify some of these things, you need to bridge the gap, speak with them. I've already said be vulnerable. Let them know about your own vulnerability. And that's the strongest place to be, because once the children are aware that they're not alone in this, they're able to open up to you. And so you also need to talk to them a lot, because in talking to them, you bring them to a space where they feel comfortable to share whatever is going on within them. Because I've heard a lot of people say, children are not your friends, but you can actually open a good conversation window between you and your children.
Okay, so now I'm definitely going to touch on that whole children are not your friends, because I've heard it myself, and I'm like trying to figure out, okay, where to draw the line. However, so now you said we need to be conscious of them, of their moods, conscious of if they're throwing tantrums, if they're being too quiet, and try to meet them there, try to talk to them. Now, where I think a lot of people are really conscious about where to draw the line. For instance, now I'm having a conversation with a friend, telling me about how, okay, fine, his son literally, a few days ago, literally, or rather, whenever he wants to have his attention, he wants to speak with him, he's like, oh, daddy, I need you to listen to me. I'm trying to talk to him. This boy is literally like 4 years old. And it's like the father in him thinking of how he was literally brought up. You're telling me I need you to listen to me. Like, even him as a grown man right now, can he tell his father, Daddy, I want to speak to you. I need you to listen to me. Do you understand? So now, where do we draw the line? Because a lot of us Nigerian parents, right, they're really conscious about, okay, fine, not spoiling the kids. As much as we want to hear them, we want to make sure they don't have any emotional damage, where do you draw the line?
So it's more of an issue of conversation, because communication, rather. We have communication problem in our culture. As much as we rant a lot, we speak a lot, we do not have genuine, gainful conversation with our kids. And that brings us into a space where there's a huge gap between us emotionally. And the connect is not there. Yes. So if, for example, a 4-year-old, of course, the child has the right to speak to the person, to be listened to. Yes. So I would support to say, as a father, if you're not available at that time, say, oh, give me a minute, I'll be with you shortly. Give the child the reason why you are deferring that conversation and not just brush the child aside as if they don't matter. It's important to carry them along. Well, parents will actually transform when they begin to see their children as adults and not less than that. If you are able to place your children in the space where you can have that conversation, it's hard.
But is it not
possible?
But is that not a problem? Now, is that not overindulging? If you say, okay, fine, I'm going to look at a 4-year-old as my peer, not like my peer per se, but like as a human being, let me just say that, like me, and I'm going to interact with the person that way.
Yeah, so the human, the little one is constructing himself, is building his personality with every experience and every encounter in life.
True.
And so we are supporting that process by the way we respect and validate whatever is going on around them. So when we shove them aside, it just bruises their self-esteem.
Yes.
And they begin to vanish more and more. A lot of us are broken. And it transcends into relationships.
Yes.
It transcends into our workplaces. It transcends into communication with just ordinary people. Even in the commuting, maybe you are parking your car and somebody is yelling at you. All of the anger issues and all of it just describes the young child that was broken. So for you to have a wholesome, well-developed child, you need to acknowledge them from when they're young.
When they're young.
Yes, you need to respect, you need to validate. Even though they do not depend on your validation to build themselves, you actually need to acknowledge them in your space that they are important. That way you are helping the wholesome human to evolve.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think it's very important, especially for we Nigerians that literally grew up in homes where, we're always shut down and say, oh, you're a child, what do you know?
But Winfrey, I must say that even though you give the child room to speak and express themselves, as our culture dictates, you let the child know where to stop. And like, I'm an elder here, you don't do this, you don't do that. And children respect that totally. The moment you are able to bring that conversation and help them understand the difference, they respect it.
Okay, so the idea is to literally create balance.
Create balance, yes.
So despite the fact that we're going to hear you out, we're going to allow you to express yourself, but then again, there's a limit to which you can.
I wish time would permit me. In our school, Moma Hill, we have a schoolhouse. So we have a young little girl who lives at the schoolhouse, and she went home over the holiday. And then she's calling, I want to come back because my mom didn't allow me to do this. And I said to her, you can't come back. You have to first make peace with your parents. Your mom sets the pace about you coming back. She dictates and all of that. So children understand all of those boundaries.
Yes, very interesting to actually put boundaries. Thank you so much, Ma. We're definitely going to have you here back again next week for the final session of parenting for the month of July. Thank you so much, Ochuko Prudence Daniels, parenting expert.